What's up, my friends? Today we're gonna have a Megabass conversation. Jeff and I were kind of shooting the shit about a lot of different Megabass baits, and we decided, you know what, there's a few sleepers in this lineup that catch a ton of fish this time of the year. So today we're gonna talk about 3 sleeper Megabass baits that you might wanna add in your arsenal this fall. If you wanna join us, let's do it. Welcome to the Hookup Tackle. The Hookup Tackle is the world's largest showcase of Megabass products, featuring baits and colors not found at any other dealer. The Hookup also offers a wide display of OSP, Evergreen, Depths, Lucky Craft, Jackal, and many more. The Hookup Tackle is owned and operated by family, is staffed by guides and verified tackle nerds who love helping anglers elevate their craft. If you're in the Phoenix area, we'd love to have you stop by our showroom and check out the wonderful world of Megabass and the Hookup for yourself. If you shop online, there are almost 10,000 SKUs of Megabass products alone, with hundreds of other companies and new products being added daily. So next time you're looking for that hard to find bait, that color your fish have never seen before, or maybe you just want to elevate your game, look at thehookuptackle.com. Welcome back, my friends. I am Ben with the Hookup Tackle, the Tackle Otaku on Instagram, being joined by my buddy Jeffrey the King. We're the Hookup Tackle USA. Jeffrey the King, good morning.
What's up to you?
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, as always.
Good.
Epic. I'm doing epic.
Me too. This is an epic day, Jeff. Today we are talking about 3 kind of under the radar / sleeper Megabass baits that kind of get overshadowed by a lot of the other baits, but these are baits that are really effective specifically this time of the year in the fall. You ready to talk about some lures and play with some tackle?
Let's see what you got.
All right. Let's start right here. Let's start with a jerkbait. Now, everybody knows Megabass by the Vision 110, right? 110 is a huge line. You have the 110, you have the 110 Junior, you have the 110 plus 1, plus 2, blah, 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 right? Tons of colors. Everybody loves that bait. But there are a lot of days this time of the year where temperatures fluctuate, bites fluctuate, right? You might go out to the lake one day and it's on fire, and go out the next day and a cold front comes through and they shut down. Those fish still will react to something, but maybe they're not reacting to exactly what you were catching them on before. And the fall is a great time to throw a jerkbait, but sometimes you need to downsize. And we talk about this bait a lot. It's still flying way under the radar for guys, but that is this guy right here. This is the Megabass X Nanahan. You can get it in different versions. You can get it in a regular, a plus 1, but I'm going to specifically talk about the plus 2 today because I think it's the most applicable for the fall. So what happens a lot of times in fall transition is those fish will move from deep to shallow, and they'll start feeding heavily, and then we'll get a cold snap at night, or we'll get a storm that comes through, or a heavy wind. It pushes them off into deeper. They go back shallow, pushes them off deeper, and they'll start this kind of shallow to deep, and eventually if they get tired of doing that, a lot of times they just move out and suspend. And so they'll want to be in this creek arm, or they'll want to be in this area, but they just suspend out in these trees or off this point or wherever they are. And a deep diving jerkbait is just an amazing way to catch those fish because it gets in their zone and it can draw trigger strikes that a lot of other baits can't because they're moving through too quickly. The X Nanahan Plus 2 is a great one because it dives down into the same depth as like a Vision 110 Plus 2 would, and it has the same action as the Vision 110. So if you guys are catching them on a regular 110 jerkbait now, this would be a great one to always just have around when you need to downsize. It's a much smaller offering. It's only 75 millimeters versus 110 millimeters in the original, but you get the same action. You want to make sure you're just tapping the slack, and this bait is going to have that same kind of 2-in-1 darting motion that a 110 would have. You can also pick and choose colors here in this color lineup to give you guys some different advantages over a lot of the competition that's not throwing this, because there's a lot of colors in the X Nanahan that are really Japan core colors and not US core colors. So colors like, Kasumi Ito, there's some JP Sculpins, there's some IU colors, there's some great tones that are perfect for this time of the year where the sun's a little bit lower on the horizon, there's more shadows in the water, there's darker water. So a lot of these colors will have a little bit more body to them, so they're gonna stand out a little bit better in those darker conditions. So For me, for sure, this is definitely one that I'm going to keep very close. In any of those days where the bite just gets a little tough, this can save the day for you. This is the Nanahan Plus 2. That's number 1 on my list. All right, number 2 on my list is a bait that's actually designed and part of the Megabass saltwater line, but I've never used it in saltwater. I've thrown it in freshwater since this thing has been out. I know a lot of guys that use this. We're all freshwater guys, so if you're a saltwater guy, this should be right up your alley. If you're a freshwater bass fisherman like all of us, this should also be right up your alley. And that is this guy. One of the best tailspins, in my opinion, on the market, period. This is the Megabass Nautilus. Now this is 43 millimeters, 22 grams, so it's only available in the one size, which would be a 3/4 ounce size. But what makes the Nautilus so dope, well, a couple things, but really the big thing for me is this has a custom shaped kind of big blade on it. So this rear blade is much bigger than a traditional blade on the back of a tailspin like this, which just gives it a different thump and a different flash, different action. What's really cool about this is that this is a line through tailspin. So what's nice is, you know, tailspins are notorious for getting a lot of bites this time of the year when the fish are schooled up on bait in creek channels or down in ditches or, you know, off any kind of ledge breaks. When the fish are in deeper water and they're really keyed on bait fish, throwing a spoon, a blade bait, a tailspin is an amazing way to catch them. One of the challenges to throwing a tailspin traditionally is that you lose a lot of fish because it's so much lead, and when you hook them, that lead just has that leverage to kind of tear the hook out. By going to the line through, you eliminate that leverage and your land ratio goes sky high on this thing. There's a bunch of really great colors that, again, are excellent for this time of the year when that water is really dark. This is a bait that if you've got fish kind of blowing up and popping bait on the surface still, you can cast this thing a mile even into the wind and you can burn it. It's also a bait that you can fish out deep, effectively 30, 40, even 50 feet out. So it's got a lot of versatility to it. So if you guys are fishing anywhere where they're feeding on, you know, shad or herring or any type of bait, this could be a great one. That's the Nautilus. That's number 2 on my list. All right, and number 3, it's impossible for me to talk about fishing this time of the year without talking about some kind of crankbait. Now, the majority of Megabass crankbaits are pretty much on the radar, right? We talk about things like the Big M all the time, the Deep 6, the Deep X300. So most baits really in the whole Megabass realm are on the radar, but one that has been on the market maybe the longest out of them and really is kind of forgotten about but still amazingly effective is this dude. This is the Megabass Knuckle LD Jr. Now, in recent years, the square bill world of Megabass has kind of been dominated by these two guys, the Sonic Side and the S-Crank. These are the two that Megabass promotes the most and pushes the most, and they're amazing crankbaits. You got this brilliant flat side crankbait, you got this great hunting bait. The Knuckle LD has kind of been lost in the shuffle, and specifically the junior size is really an amazing one for this time of the year. And the reason I say that is the junior is 55 millimeters, so it's smaller than the original, but it still weighs 3/8 of an ounce. So it has the same weight as the full size. So you can throw this effectively on normal cranking gear. So where I find this bait to be super effective is when those fish start pushing back into the backs of the creek arms, into the backs of the coves, and they're in really shallow water. And a lot of times you'll have water that's rising this time of the year. You'll have storms, or you'll have some runoff. That water will rise into grass, into fresh bushes, into cockleburrs, into different things. Those fish will sit very shallow in that cover, so you need a bait that can stay high and deflect really well off that type of vegetation. But you also need to be able to throw it on pretty heavy gear, right? Because it's a lot of cover. When you get bait, you need to haul them out. So this is a bait that I can throw on a full-size cranking rod, something like my Valkyrie 7.1 medium heavy, or whatever whatever your cranking rod is. You can throw it on a Mad Bull or anything like that. You can throw this on 16, 18, 20-pound fluoro, and it's still going to cast great because of the weight. Now, because it's really small, this is a great one when the fish are keyed in on tiny bait or when you're fishing behind other guys. So, you know, I would probably start my day throwing more of a full-size square bill. But if they start getting picky, or I'm noticing tiny little bait, like even this week, we've been seeing bait flickering, and even though it's fall when they should be full-size matured, there's a lot of bait still. It's only an inch, inch and a half, 2 inches. This is perfect and fills that gap perfectly. It's got a circuit board lip, and what that does is it helps deflect off cover, but it also gives it a little bit of a tighter action. It's going to hunt a little bit as well. It's got a swiveled hook keeper on the front, which is nice. So if they're hooked in a weird way, it helps just as they're shaking, it helps that bait pivot without tearing the hook out. So there's a lot of great things to love about the Knuckle. The Junior, especially for me, is a home run. So there you go. There's number 3 on my list. All right, guys, just like that, there is 3 sleeper baits from Megabass that I think you guys will catch a lot of fish on this time of the year if you implement them. If you have questions on how to apply any of those into your arsenal for the fall, definitely drop it down below and I will get some answers for you. Jeff will leave links to the products if you want to check any of them out closer. I hope you guys have a wonderful fall. I hope you catch a ton of fish. I hope you implement some of these. I know you'll have a lot of success on them. We will see you guys again soon. On behalf of myself and Jeff and everybody here at the Hookup, thank you guys for your support. Thank you for your business, and we will see you guys on the water. Peace out.